Hey y'all, it's day 186 of 365 of me going live. Today is the second live recording of her Soft Life podcast with my sis Fatima from SisHealYourself. She's about to join. Today we're talking all things relationships, so I'm super excited to get started. So we'll wait for her to jump on. And here she comes.
Hi, sister.
Hello.
How are you?
Sis.
I'm good.
I'm good. How are you? Isn't that so weird how the whole view of the camera changed?
I know.
Like, what?
I'm looking like, okay, wait, let me back this up a little bit. Let me change the angle.
Happy Thursday.
I know.
Happy Love Week.
Happy Love Week.
Like, listen, it's been a week. It's been a week. And I know you're going to celebrate this weekend.
It's been a week. I feel like Love Day has been about making sure I got stuff for my little one. So, this was her first Valentine's Day in school. So she came home with a bunch of stuff, and that's been fun. So I'm excited to have some adult time this weekend.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me, do they have mailboxes? What's the whole thing? What cards did she have? What cards did she give out to the class? The whole nine. I need to know everything.
I'm not
going
to Target on Sunday. What was that? The 12th? There was nothing. Nothing. I mean, when I tell you, and it was like a 6 o'clock, Sunday night. I'm not going to the other Target across town. So I was like, okay, we're going to make this work. So I got little cupcakes for the kids and cards. But this is the thing, it's clear that I'm a Neo in the game when it comes to being a parent that has a kid in school, because when I tell you, these little kids had little packets and just curated candy and everything for Valentine's Day.
What?
Girl. So I was like, okay, noted. I will be sure to have my stuff together next time. Yeah.
Okay. First one.
I had to get what I should have done, because I'm in Target all the time. I should have picked up the Valentine's Day stuff when I was there a couple weeks ago, but I was like, oh, I'll have time. It's fine.
It'll be there.
Not.
Yeah.
Not.
Yep. It wasn't. At all.
But they don't know.
I love it. Okay.
They don't know. She was excited either way. So
So what did you get her? Did you get her a stuffed animal?
It's funny because there's this lady at our church who always puts together little things for her birthday or for Valentine's Day. So she got her this Valentine's Day bag with little snacks and treats and stuff like that. And so she liked that. And then what was it? Monday night, she wanted chocolate covered strawberries. So we went and got chocolate covered strawberries, and we shared those with Daddy. So we kept it low key, but that's because everybody loves Priscilla. So she gets stuff from Yaya, Nana, Sister Simmons at church. I don't have to do nothing.
Yes. It's giving very much only child syndrome. And I can absolutely, completely relate. This sounds so familiar. Absolutely. Yes. And
She
yes,
does.
Robinson in the
Yeah.
chat, luxurious taste.
Just like her mom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because Priscilla
She
is
is.
living
Oh,
her
yeah.
mini soft life.
She definitely is.
So yeah. I think
Yeah.
we should make a podcast about that too.
It's true,
The
because
mini soft
kids,
life.
they emulate what they see, right? So like there was one day I told her, I was like calling her to, come and see me or whatever. And she was like, "Mommy, I can't right now because I'm relaxing." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say to that?
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I am absolutely a fan. I'm gonna use that the next time my mother calls me.
I'll talk to you later. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
No. I actually I want to try it. Like, I want her to call me and put it on speaker and record it, because I feel like that would be brilliant content.
Hilarious.
Okay, so let's get into these questions. Because I have some questions for you.
Okay.
And I mean, you can have questions for me too, but like I'm giving you the reins on this one. Okay. So do you believe
Oh my God.
in love at first sight?
Okay, let me gather myself. Do I believe in love at first sight? Oh my God, I don't know.
You can say no.
I feel like yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. I don't think it's so I don't think it's elaborate. Like I don't think it's like a one and done, or like a black and white thing, like yes you can or no you can't. Right? Like I think it depends on the situation. Because sometimes what's love at first sight is actually lust at first sight. So you have to kind of know. I feel like, do you have to know what love is? I don't know. Oh God.
What is love?
That's a question. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
How did we get deep on the second question?
What is love? Okay, wait. Can I give a resource? I want to give a resource for this because bell hooks. So I love bell hooks. Feminist, just like you got to read one of her books. And a lot of what she writes about is about love. In fact, one of her books is literally called All About Love. And in that book, she talks about how you do need to have your own definition of what love looks like. So I feel like that should maybe be a homework assignment for our listeners. What is love?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Because I think it is relative. Like, we know what love is in the Bible. Love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't boast, right? But like, what does that mean to you? Right?
Yeah, okay, so everybody who's on right now in the chat, tell us what your definition of love is. Because, that's how we normally start each episode, is like the definition of what we're talking about. And to your point, like every person's definition of love is different. I think I thought about my answer because I knew this would eventually come up. And so I think my favorite explanation of love, other than in church, right? Because love is a major topic in church, right? But the very first time that I could explain love the way that I wanted to, and you're going to laugh at this because, of course, it's a Disney reference, is from Twitches. And it is, did you say you've never seen it? So good. Okay. It's actually between the sisters. It's between Tia and Tamara's character. And like, I'm not going to tell the scenario of how you get to it because it would completely spoil the movie. But they
Mm-hmm.
basically say that love is infinite. And just because I love you doesn't mean that I love my mom any less or I love my sister any less. I can always make more love when I need it. And I can
Oh, I
have
love
as much
that.
love as I want to have. And so that has always been my favorite definition of love, is that I can always
Oh,
make
that's
more
so
love.
good. So good. I see we have a couple comments. Yeah.
Yes, they going in. They are going
Selflessness, like you
in.
can't have love without it. You can't, especially in a romantic
Yeah.
relationship, because there is so much like push and pull, depending on what's happening in your life or their life. So selflessness, reciprocity, absolutely. Being supportive and being supported. Yeah, which goes back to reciprocity.
Yeah. Yeah. My other one. So my other Disney reference. Why does everything have to be a Disney reference? I promise you, I'm gonna start watching more movies, but for right now, let's take it back to Beauty and the Beast. And so also I've been watching Once Upon a Time too. Have you watched Once Upon a Time? Oh my god, we need to get you on these TV shows. Okay, so Once Upon a Time is about fairy tale characters who are cursed and they're brought to the real world. And they forget who they are. That's the curse. The curse is that they have no idea who they are. And so, the curse gets broken and then they remember like that they're Snow White and Prince Charming, and that, they had this entire life together before they've been cursed for 28 years, and they completely forget who they are. But also I bring that up because, of course, Belle is in the story and the Beast is in the story. And at the beginning, the quote is the greatest shoot, now I forgot what it is. It's like the greatest thing about love is to love and be loved in return. And so that's my other like love quote. That's not exact. I can't even remember what it is. But that sounds about right. And then in the chat we have deeply committed.
It is a commitment. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. So while we're talking about like love stories, like what's your favorite love story reference?
So I have an answer for that. I actually wrote my answer down for that. So I have love stories. I have like a personal one and then like TV movie. So one of my favorite love stories is my grandparents. My grandparents. So I feel really, really blessed because I come from a family of long marriages. So my parents have been together they've been together almost 40 years, but married like 30 something. I'm 34, so 33 or 32. And my grandparents, before my grandfather passed away, they had been married like 60 years. And so they've been through so much. And the thing that I love about their story is that when my grandfather got dementia, so like with dementia, you sometimes don't even remember who you're talking to. Like sometimes I would come in the room and he would think I was my mom. And he would think that when I was a little kid. Like he would call me Yolanda when I was little, but like it intensifies when you're, when you have dementia. But one of the things that he never forgot was his wife. Like he always remembered her. He always wanted her around. Like you could feel the love between the two of them. And I think that like seeing that just showed me how infinite love really is, right? Like how far it is, how wide it is, like regardless of whatever the life circumstances are, because he was in a nursing home. So maybe 10, 15 years before he died, they lived separately. But like they still, the love was still there. It was still there. So, I'm not gonna get emotional.
I know. I'm not gonna start
Yeah.
it because once I cry, like we're done. But it's actually really funny that that's your favorite story because that's my favorite story too. And there's so many similarities in our story because you know that my grandfather had dementia as well. So, but I love their like coming together story. And of course, like you said, like they were married for 50, 60 years together. All the things, but they met at Fayetteville State. They both wanted to be teachers, but my granddaddy got drafted to the army for the Korean War, and so he did not finish when my grandma did. He went and left, and the story goes, now I wasn't there, I don't even think that I was thought about back then, but the story that I heard was that he came back and looked for her, and that's when they got married and started their family. And of course, my mom is their firstborn. And so, the story is that she waited for him to come back and that their love was meant to be. And so that has always been my favorite love story. And even just to see their longevity, the ins and the outs, us coming into the picture as grandchildren, being there for just like you said, the multitudes of weddings in our family, the way that they supported each other. And then even to see, when my grandfather got dementia and he lived with it for almost 17 years. So to see that entire span of time, how they still treated each other, was both so loving, but also so comical. Because like you said, he didn't really forget too many people. It's like not the immediate family, but people he wouldn't see for a while. But like he knew most of us, but if it was nobody else, he knew his sweets, and that's what he called my grandma. And so, or he would say, "Mother," and I just loved those moments growing up. And I know I talked about like us getting in trouble on the last episode. Like those are the things that I remember is their interactions together. And my cousin is in the chat. She said that's so cute. I never heard that story.
Okay.
So she's one of the baby grandchildren, but like that's what they used to tell us those stories when we would stay with them.
So many similarities, sis. Like my
many. So many.
My grandparents met at Grambling, and so when we talk about love at first sight, so the story that I've heard is that my grandfather went up to my grandmother and was like, "I'm gonna marry you," and like, and that is like so. That is exactly the kind of person that he is. And he was in the army. He was a colonel, and he went to the Korean War too. Yeah.
What?
Okay.
We need to see if this lines up. We need to see if this lines up. I gotta call the historian. That's my mom. My mom is the historian of the family. She knows all the details. But like that is so amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
We're learning so much about each other again. Here we are. I love it. Okay, so in the chat, it says, once upon a time was really about the evil queen learning self-love and forgiveness and being unconditional love. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. So. But Fatima, you got to watch it because it's good discussion. Okay. It's good discussion. So, okay. So, who is your favorite celebrity?
So, I'm going to give you two because I feel like, so when you say celebrity couple, like to me, the automatic is Barack and Michelle. So, like, that's, but like,
get out
I'm
of my head.
It's fine. right? Like,
that is
yeah,
literally who I
it's
wrote
okay.
down, and I was like,
Yeah,
nobody's touching them. Like,
yeah,
no, they are the
yeah.
goals. They
They
are
are. So
absolute goals.
so
Yeah.
we can talk about them, but the other two that I have written down. So just a little context. Um so my husband is a minister, and so I have really embraced the fact that I am a minister's wife. I did not want to be a minister's wife. I was a PK, like I don't want no parts, right? But I have grown, and I have accepted where I'm at, right? So for me, TD Jakes and Sarita Jakes are, I really love to see them not only just like enjoying their life, but how they support each other with their ministry assignments, because Sarita Jakes has a ministry too. And I do believe that like ministers' wives, oftentimes they get kind of like put to the side, or they, you know, are just kind of like trophy wives. But oftentimes these women are powerful too. And so TD Jakes and Sarita, like the grace that Sarita has, how she covers her husband. Like I remember one time I watched this video, and she had to like get somebody straight because they were coming at her husband a particular way. Like I really like to see that, because it gives me, it just, it helps me to see, okay, what do I need to do, you know, in this role. So celebrity, TD Jakes and Sarita, and then
I
and then
would call them
Sierra
celebrity.
and Russell.
Yeah,
I love them. I love the way that Russell loves Sierra. I love it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I am tired of you being in my head, because literally those are the two that I wrote down. And I was like, let me write down multiple, because I know
we're going to have
that
similarities.
Like,
yeah,
one or the other, she's going to get from me. And it was both. Like, bingo. You won the prize. So no, but I think for me, you know, Barack and Michelle, or President Obama and First Lady Obama, they were our first truly public figure that had a spotlight on them 100% of the time for 8 entire years, right? And for me, I don't even think that they had an argument, right? Because of how they portrayed their love to us, right? Now, I would assume that she'd tear him up.
Said so.
Like, she is going to get him straight. And I think that he goes back with her too. But I think that she stands her ground. Like, I think she is absolutely telling him about himself, right? But I also love that. I love just their dynamic. And I think that it's a real relationship. I don't think that they faked it. I think that they showed us those vulnerable parts without it being messy. And I think that that is my favorite part about them, is just they were really genuine. They were intentional. They were just what I think we needed to see as a people, that could work. And you can be the most powerful person in the world and still have love. And so that's what I appreciate about them.
I completely agree with you. And there was like a period of time where it just seemed like everybody was getting divorced. Like, it's just like everybody was getting divorced. And I think the thing that I really appreciate about their relationship, like you said, is they keep it real. And in her recent interviews, like for her new book, she's talked about these periods in their relationship where she didn't like her husband, that she didn't, you know, she just wasn't feeling him. And I just love that she normalized that sometimes is part of the process, but that doesn't mean that you quit. That doesn't mean, like, this is just a moment in time. And like, I imagine if things didn't get better, or whatever, she would have made a different decision, but the love was still there, right? Like, I don't like you right now, but I love you. So I'm going to continue to endure and push through whatever is going on. And like, I just love that she talked about that, because those are the conversations that we've got to have when it comes to love and marriage. That's what helps long marriages. It's like just being able to get through sometimes, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for somebody who's I'm about to be married for 10 years this year, sis. Yes. Yes.
What?
Yes.
10 years. Okay. So, you know, what
I know, right?
I could go so many different ways with this question. What has been like, I don't know, what has been your biggest lesson in 10 years?
I really do think that it's a lot of what Michelle was speaking about, because we've been through a lot of transition. Like when we got together, we didn't have no money. We were broke. Like I was still in college when we met. And then we got married when I finished my degree. But like the idea of building something that we have now just seems so far-fetched. Like it just felt like, okay, how are we going to get here? But what I knew like deep down in my soul was that regardless of the day-to-day, because the day-to-day can be annoying sometimes, it can be rough, but that I know that my husband is committed to seeing this through. Like he's committed and he loves me, and like he's not gonna throw in the towel easily. Like that, I think, has been the biggest lesson. But also fighting fair. Fights aren't necessarily bad. Sometimes you can learn something, or you know, get something out. You have a new perspective on your mate. But fighting fair makes the difference. Not going below the belt, not saying things that you're going to regret, revisiting the conversation if it's too heated. You know, that communication has really, really helped. Just see this relationship through. So now that I'm reaching 10 years, I'm like, I'm excited. It's not like, oh Lord, we'd have made it to 10 years. Like, it's like, no. Like, I'm so excited about, and I'm amazed at the life that we built in 10 years. And I'm excited to see what the next 10 will bring, you know? Yeah.
I love that. I love that. What is the biggest accomplishment that you've accomplished together?
That's a good question. Priscilla. Priscilla.
As soon as I formed the question, I was like, I know what she's going to say.
So we were 5 years in, so we had a good amount of time where we traveled, we enjoyed one another, like we kind of knew how we worked. And so I felt like, and that's not to say that, you know, if you have a child sooner, you can't do this, but I felt like we were giving her the best versions of ourselves at that time. Like it wasn't rushed. It was planned. I feel like it was just executed in a way where we were really giving her our best. And so through the parenting journey too, we've learned so much about each other. We've learned about things that were kind of like hidden that wouldn't have come out if she wasn't here. You know, like I think Priscilla has definitely been a beautiful lesson, because I see like areas where I just want to be better, because I want her to see the healthiest version of me and her dad, you know. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. I love that.
I feel really blessed. I feel really, really blessed, because I know that's not everybody's story. And so like I don't take I don't take it for granted that this is where we are. And really, our goal is to help other people get here. So I think we've been, like we've worked on, okay, what can we do with this? Like, how can we minister to other couples to help them? Because it does take like we talk about, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to endure through a marriage. Like, you've got to have people, trusted people, to like help you get there, so yeah.
Okay. I love that. I love that. I'm taking notes. I'm taking all the notes. Okay. So what does love look like in the soft life?
I love this question, because what I thought was love, not in the soft life, really was damaging for me. It wasn't love. I thought it was, but it wasn't. So, so I think, so our second episode, we talked about self-esteem and like self-respect. So love in her soft life is having self-respect of what you're going to take and what you're not. I think it's also like emotional safety, like being able to have difficult conversations and not be like turned away, whether it's about how you feel about something, or you want to try something new, or like, how is this person responding to that? Because it's like it's always great when it's good, but what is it like when it's not?
Right.
What do you think?
Right. I think that love in the soft life is intentional. I think that it is infinite, like I talked about earlier. But I also think that it's more, like you said, like it starts with me first, right? Because I'm living the soft life, and the soft life is mostly focused about me, and then my inner circle. And so I think that is what I would define love in the soft life.
It makes me think about like, sometimes people feel like being in a relationship. I see Robin's comment. It's so funny, because when we were doing the fast, people were like, Nicole, she was like, all right, I'm gonna turn it over to Pastor Fatima, and I was like, oh God. Oh my gosh. Listen,
are you not ready?
Maybe 10 years ago, I would have looked at that comment and been like, nope, not me. But I thank you, Robin. Yeah, I appreciate it. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what was I saying? So, when you talk about like, or sometimes we think about relationships, like, if this person is here, then this will be better for me. Like, a person will complete me. And like, I think that what you're getting at is like, you want to feel complete. Now, complete is not perfect, right? But it's being okay with who you are, regardless of what stage you're in. And then whoever comes is just a supplement to that. Like, they're not completing anything. They're just adding to,
Yeah. So you talked about something that Robin and I were talking about earlier, and we were talking about like stages of love. So like I think back to like puppy love or young love, like when I really thought that I was just in love with somebody and did not know that like it could have been lust. It could have just been being naive, first kiss,
Mm-hmm.
very first boyfriend, like, not even knowing what love is, right? And like moving from that to the stage of actually falling in love
Mm-hmm.
or being in love, or Robin's parents, they'll be married for 40 years this year. My parents have been married for 30 years. Like, when you get to
Yeah.
that level
Yeah.
of maturity in a relationship, what is that
Whoa.
definition of the stage that you're in? Or like, is it a process? Does it like circle and it goes back again? And so we were kind of talking
Yeah.
about like what that looks like. So my question to you is like, what stage
Mm,
are you in?
that's a really good question. Because I feel like maybe the first 10 years or so has been foundational, like laying down a foundation. And so now, and it's also been building, but I feel like, and my husband and I have talked about this, like we're trying to elevate, like we're trying to go beyond just surviving
Mm,
or like just trying
mm,
to establish, like we're established. We've been married 10. So it's like we're trying
mm,
to go up another level. And I don't know what that is, but I know it's not where we're
mm,
at. And we both have acknowledged that. Like we're good, but that we know that there's more, you know?
mm. Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
think it's I
I
think
love
it's important that
I
we're
love
both on
it.
the same page about that too, because
Mm,
if I'm saying I want more and he's good, then like that can cause
mm-hmm.
some issue. Not that it
Right.
can't be solved, but like that can cause an issue, especially when you're at this level of like you don't have just like a couple years behind you. Like we're in this. Like we got credit together. We got a like like we got a mortgage together. So this is different
It's
than just us
real.
like splitting the rent. Like this is different. So
Right.
sometimes I think that's what can cause separation because it's like what you want and what I want in the long run is different. And no one's willing to
Yeah.
compromise on that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we both feel that because I think I would be worried if we didn't. Although I think that if we did, we would just probably compromise. Because I'm not married. I'm not getting married to nobody else. Like this is it. Like that's how I feel. I
Yeah.
know that's how he
Yeah.
feels. So we
Yeah.
will make this work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Hmm.
I love that. I love that. I think for me, like the biggest thing that I value in a relationship
Yeah.
is communication. Like being able to express what I feel, being for him to be
Hmm.
able to express what he feels, for us
Hmm.
to be able to agree and disagree, for us to be able to work through anything, no matter how hard the topic, no matter
Hmm.
who it may upset, but just being able to
Hmm.
like communicate those things. Because I've been in relationships where the communication was
Yeah.
like zero or
Hmm.
maybe even -5. And so I think that that was one of my biggest lessons in the stages
Yeah.
is communication. Like
Yeah.
communication is
Okay, so let me ask you
huge,
a question,
huge.
sis. So
Okay,
how do you
ask me
how do
a
you know when the
question.
communication is good?
I feel like it's constant. Like when you can be on a like let's go back
Mm-hmm.
to puppy love for a second, right? Because when we were young, this is like when it had to be after 7 or after 9 before you could talk on the phone for free, because otherwise, minutes was adding up. And I don't know about everybody else, but them minutes was tracked on that phone bill. So after 9 o'clock was the only time I could talk to you. But if we could talk all night long and we not repeating the same thing night after night, like we asking questions, we're getting to know each other, like all of those things, like that's when the communication is good. Like when you get on the phone and it's like quiet, or like even for like any amount of time, it's like something's not there.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, because it's like not only communication but conversation. Like you're having conversation, and it doesn't matter. Like I've known my husband now for 12, 13 years. I don't know everything there is to know about him. I'm still learning him. And so there's always something for us to talk about. So like, especially in those early stages of dating, like, we do need to be having conversations. We do need to get to know each other. If you're not giving me anything, then what are we doing? That's it's
right. And I think like it's a difference when you can tell that somebody actually really wants to talk to you, or like they're just talking to you because like
I'm laughing because
those are two different conversations.
You are so right. And I'm laughing because I can remember my first date with Ethan. And when I tell you he talked my ear off, I said, what is wrong? I'm sitting there like, what is wrong with him? But that's because I was used to like trying to drag stuff out of men. So like, even still, sometimes I'll be like, babe, I just need you to like cut it off. Can we talk about this later? Yeah.
Give me a minute. Give me 1 minute.
But it's just like he's always like, that's what I needed, because what I was dating wasn't working. Like I'm trying to get to know you and you giving me one word answers. And I say boo to Ethan and he's like,
oh my God. Yeah, that is my pet peeve, right? Now, what I can say is, in this relationships thing, I have learned so much, right? But what I do know is if I type you a whole paragraph and you send me less than a sentence, like it don't even go to the second line, we're not having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Like we're not it's not mutual at this moment in time. Like let me would you rather talk on the phone? Would you rather FaceTime so that I can at least get those paragraphs? Because you texting me less than a sentence isn't gonna work if I've texted you a paragraph.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So funny.
Okay, so what is your favorite? I don't think we talked about this. Your favorite love movie or your favorite love
so you
TV
like
show?
Disney. So my husband makes fun of me because he's always like, you always gotta find a black movie. Yes, I do. I always find a black movie. Like I love black film, even the low budget ones. I just love them. So
yeah. Especially those.
Right. Sometimes they have good storylines. They just,
There's some good ones. There's some good ones out there.
So, we're probably going to have some similarities, okay?
We definitely are. So it's going to be okay.
Jones. I love Jones.
Okay.
And it's a tie between Brown Sugar and Love and Basketball. I like those.
Okay.
I feel like those were, from what I can remember, they were like some of the first movies that I was allowed to watch that that really showed like Black love outside of like just my nuclear family and whatnot. That Black love is being shown to the world, and not in like this like toxic way. I mean, there's there's a little bit of drama, but like it's a happily ever after,
right?
Right. So, yeah, those are mine. Okay.
I love that. And I didn't have any of those three.
Good. Yeah.
So I do like those, right? Like, I feel like those are like classic Black love movies. Like, you can't not love those, right? So I wanted to pick something that was newer. And I think it actually came out like during the pandemic. The Photograph with Issa Rae. I love
the music in that movie is amazing too.
Like, I am here for a good plot, a good like we're falling in love, we're gonna be together, and then their story like tears them apart, and they choose each other, and I think that is like my golden egg of a story. If you
it's the choosing
choose
part.
each other, it's the choosing part. It's the choosing part. So that is one of my favorites. Going back to my Hampton days, I absolutely loved, you're gonna laugh at this one. I absolutely loved Think Like a Man. And I love that movie because one, they brought the movie to Hampton. So Terrence J came, and they had us like in there and had a free viewing and like the whole thing. Yeah. And I felt like that was really cool. But then to read the book as well, I don't really think it helped me in relationships, but I loved the plot. I loved the comedy of it. And you can pick out people based on each of those characters that they showed. And I saw myself in the film too. So I feel like that's a really good like comedic love story. And then for my low-key toxic love story, but it ends well in real life because it's a real love story, is, I don't know if you watched, but Love Is. Television show. I was distraught when they took that off of the air, but the actual first season of that story was so good, and it had me hooked. Specifically because it was very real. It was very like it was a lot of compromising. It was a lot of I don't know, just like that back and real forth. Life scenarios.
I remember, was that kind of like a love at first sight kind of like, I can't,
yeah, that was a love at first sight story. Yeah. And Mara Akil and Salim Akil are still together today, even though they took the show down and, it was getting bad at the end of the season. Like, that, their love story has me on the edge of my seat. Like, I want to keep watching. So yeah. Like,
I was really
those are my
sad
three.
to see that show come to an abrupt end. It was nice to see. So even though it was like semi-toxic, it wasn't like, so I watched Tyler Perry, but it wasn't like Tyler Perry kind-esque, like it was
Yeah.
something other than reality TV. Like it was just a lot of things.
Right.
And I'm really sad that it didn't continue.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a
Yeah.
good one. That was a really,
Yeah.
really good one. Yeah. So
I know.
wow.
We
What
got
an
deep.
episode.
We got deep. Real. We went into the deep end quick.
Like real quick.
Listen.
Like not even 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it. I feel like we could
really
talk about
could.
relationships all night.
Really.
But you know,
Yeah,
that just means we'll have
absolutely.
to have another episode. So make sure you all go back and catch last week's episode on self-esteem. It is already up on the podcast, which is at anchor.fm/her soft life podcast. And then next week's episode is premiering on Thursday. That is going to be all about friendship and sisterhood. I think that's going to be one of my favorite episodes. You know, because it's all about the sisterhood. So I'm excited. And then we'll be back live in 2 weeks.
I'm trying to add this.
Yes, we should have done it at the beginning.
Things we learned along the way.
I know. So this will be up. The replay will be up tonight so that you can rewatch this and get all of the golden gems that Fatima dropped because I'm going back and writing notes.
It's always good to chat with you, sis. Whether it's
it is so good to chat with you. Like this is like the highlight of my week.
I know.
When we get together and have a real time. So
all right.
We will see y'all on the next one. Bye.